We just had to go save a chicken from getting stuck in a fence. No joke. So we're pretty much heroes today. But anyway, we're going back to Tyler setting up his 3D printer. It would have been cool to film while we saved the chicken, but it was an urgent situation.
Yeah.
Let me turn on my backup camera. So what do we have left to do, Tyler?
That's a good question.
You gotta plug it in, I would assume.
I mean, I was gonna go through the little kit. I see that I gotta add the little feetsies for it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, does it have little isolator pads?
Something like that, yeah.
Looks like they're on there already.
No, there's more.
Oh, there's more.
Like I said, the
It shakes violently, right?
modern Core XY printers are very fast, but they're also very violent.
Check that printer out. Oh, you can see the camera too in the reflection.
Now,
Oh, you got studio lighting in here.
oh yeah. Now, little thing for you. Getting back to okay. So this is the new style hot end, or not hot end, the nozzle with the integrated throat. Looks like some kind of metal tip. So it might be able to do carbon fiber filaments out of the box.
Mm-hmm.
I have not tried yet.
You know, well, while we got some people joining in, can we do a fit check? Take us through the fit.
Alright, so here is my button up.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember when I got it, probably back in high school. Here are my jeans. Got my Skechers slip-ons. As you may know, they went into the bog.
Oh, those are the ones.
These are the shoes that went
Oh,
into
they're
the bog.
slip-ons.
Yeah. Remember how like I can feel my shoe slipping off as you were pulling me?
Yeah. That's because they slip right on. Okay.
Yeah. You know,
Yep.
they're honestly, like, they're great for just around, you know, hanging
Yeah.
around. You know.
And if you don't know how to tie your shoes too,
Yeah.
they're good.
Or if you're really lazy like me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you get home, pop them off. I will say, you have to wear socks when wearing them. I mean, you should wear socks whenever you're wearing shoes. But for these especially, because your feet are very grippy.
Mm-hmm.
So what will happen is they'll kind of get caught, and then you gotta yank it off, and at that point, you're just undoing your shoes.
Interesting.
So, little thing, once again, Creality on the ball. They just straight up sent a whole roll of their PLA with the printer. Once again, it probably cost them like less than $10. But, you know, if you're just looking for it out of the box, get a whole roll. Of course.
Wow, we got 10 viewers already.
Alright.
Now, welcome everybody. We're setting up Tyler's new printer right now. Like I said earlier, sorry about the interruption on the first stream. We had to go save a chicken that got stuck in a fence.
Indeed. Save us. Alright. So this is a little handle for the top plate. Now, as you notice, it's open right now. We got that glass plate.
Oh, we got a question. DN commented, "Do you have to sand after printing?"
Do I have to sand after printing?
Why don't you show them one of your finished products? Show them the patches come out really nice.
Yeah, actually, let me.
Yeah, show them a patch.
I got one. Well, these are TPU, so you're really not going to be sanding these. These are kind of just like a rubbery thing.
Yeah, here, maybe try to do a side profile on it to see the texture. So yeah, DN, they come out very smooth.
Well, this is TPU. You're not going to be sanding that. But for what he's asking, see if I have anything. Some of those are rejects. Here's just a quick one, Pet G.
Try to focus on it.
Yeah, and obviously got the Z seam. There's not much you can do about that. I don't really need to sand parts. Something like my my tripod for my robot. Obviously, this is a mechanical thing. It's not really a look pretty thing.
Wow, check that out.
You know,
It looks pretty cool.
yeah. I mean, it's got some fuzzies on it because printing with Pet G, you're always gonna have that. I'll be honest. when I run the when I run the motor around it, it's gonna clean itself up.
Mm-hmm.
It's been used for a while now. I don't have any complaints. Yeah, like these little leg, or I guess the where the thread rod goes in, they are fine.
Very nice. Mr. Fox says, "Yo, got some good news, fam." What's the news, Mr. Fox? Let's hear it. Oh,
Wait.
also, DN's asking, do you have a favorite project, Tyler?
Do I have a favorite? Well, so my favorite project, if you will, honestly, is doing the COD zombie perks.
Mm-hmm.
As you can see up here, I did some XL versions of it. Those were mostly just because I wanted them. There weren't really any good ones on the market. Like I know E-Like has one, but it's not really like. I think they're the hex patches, and they're kind of small and not really. Yeah. Whereas these, because I made them, it's whatever I want. But more importantly, I learned a lot from doing it. I could, some programs let you just kind of paste an SVG file into the CAD software and then extrude off that.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas these, I did all by tracing. And the reason I did that was because I wanted to learn more about modeling. Like this one's was my favorite to do because of the perspective shifts.
Mm-hmm.
This one was probably the most difficult. Oh, you don't want that on the live stream?
Yeah, we got the COD zombies. The Ken Nation, right?
Yeah.
Or Ken Talica, whatever that is.
It's just, what was it, Ken's Mojo Dojo Casa House?
Mm-hmm.
Got the No Step on Snake. If you're a Creepcast fan, got a few of the other patches that are just on my bag that I left there.
Oh, wow, we got 17 viewers right now.
Nice.
Checking out the COD zombie patches.
Sweet. Anywho.
So now this one, how much better do you think this will be for printing patches specifically? And we know we talked about some of the advantages, but do you think you'll see that in the...
I'm going to tell you while I put the feet on. Now, hopefully, this doesn't end poorly. Like I said, our good friend Uncle Jesse, he had a very bad time.
Oh, Noodle Fart says, did I hear Creepcast? You did.
Yeah, who up creeping they cast? Actually, as we know, Isaiah is a big fan of Waffle House. So
there you go. Waffle House style patches. Hit up Tyler for Waffle House style patches.
Yep.
Little maybe plug the business right there. Printed Performance.
Oh yes. For those of you who don't know, I'm on Instagram, Printed Performance Airsoft. Like I said, I do patches, cosmetic, mechanical upgrades.
Yeah, I'm a big appreciator of the patches.
Yeah.
Well, if anybody's wondering, today I'm just filming Tyler. I'm not helping him move or install any of this stuff.
Yep, you'd rather be filming?
Yep.
And the last one. Alright. Now, there might be a rivet or a bolt that goes in, but it's not in this kit, so we will have to circle back to that. Now, one of the kind of annoying things that's not exclusive to this one, but a lot of modern printers, is they put the spool on the back.
Seems inconvenient.
Yeah. But, the thing is...
Why not even say bad design?
Honestly, I don't disagree. But, because I have this rack, I can just route it directly.
Oh, that's kind of nice, though.
Now, hopefully this table doesn't snap off and I die.
I was gonna say that chat would have to clip that if they if it did.
Like I said, my rule of thumb is if I'm not actively dying, you are more than welcome to take a picture and make content out of it.
Oh, this is the first time we're seeing the back side of the printer.
Yeah, I'm gonna hit from the back. So right here is the filter. Obviously, please tear off sticker before use. Ugh.
Get the ASMR appeal.
They got the little honeycomb on the back. I like honeycombs, just personal preference.
There's a little routing diagram, I guess.
That is one of the things you got to consider. And honestly, L for Creality. The routing is kind of jank, we'll say. it can kind of get caught up. Of course,
Yeah, call him out on it.
yeah. I mean,
They
I'm
messed
just
up.
going to be using my spool rack here. Going to make a few modifications to it so it's a little more streamlined. But, you know, this setup is, again, not exclusive to Creality in terms of goofiness, but, you know, Creality. Come on. There you go. Alright. So where is that manual? Did I actually lose it? Oh no.
No, you lost the service book.
Unbelievable. You know, you throw it across the room and you expect to find it again.
Oh, yeah, it also comes with some pretty sweet stickers. Showcase the stickers right here.
Speaking of, now the roll I used for this is kind of an old roll and got a lot of moisture, but here is a freshly printed, patch for you.
Mm-hmm.
Turn this off. Oh.
Very nice.
All right.
If it could focus. That's the printed performance logo, if anybody wasn't familiar.
Well, so, unboxing.
Now, what percentage of 3D printers do you think use the manual? People using them?
Well, I guess that kind of goes back to the old adage of why the hell would you use the manual to begin with. I mean, I, for the most part, try to refer to the manual, especially when it gets a little wonky. I mean, something like the,
more satisfying peels. Gotta get this one.
Oh, yeah.
I'm ready.
I gotta make sure this breaks off evenly.
Well, I think you gotta undo that tape.
Yeah. Like my Ender 3S1, I kind of just threw it together.
We're actually going for the world's slowest 3D printer unboxing.
The manual says this takes about an hour. Or the internet, I should say, says that. You know, between me yapping,
it's all right. We did order a yappuccino.
Indeed. Actually, I'm fluent in Japanese. Yeah. Now there is actually protective film on the side, but I'm gonna leave those on for now.
He's leaving the protection on.
Yep. Now we're gonna be very careful with this door.
Well, it didn't fall up and break it,
Yeah.
so that's a good start.
Yeah. Now, one of the interesting things I've noticed. Oh, there's not even magnets on this. What? Alright, well, for the time being, I'm going to leave this tape on there.
Doesn't come with magnets to hold the door shut?
So...
You pay $900 for a 3D printer that doesn't even have a door latch?
Real quick, right here.
That's crazy.
This is my my Ender 5. Now, the whole bundle was like maybe $400. And that was on sale. Actually, no, it was actually less than $400. I just got
you actually get a door with a magnet.
Yep.
It really doesn't have anything to keep the door shut?
I believe it does, but I have to take a peek at the instructions. It wants me to put on the... Oh, maybe it doesn't. I don't know. Guess we'll find out. It wants me to put on the interface first. Now, I will say, going from the original Ender 3 with the little LCD and the dial, I actually put tape over that little dial because the edges are just... There is no fillet on them, and it is a pain in the butt. It gets irritating over time.
Mm-hmm.
So it slips in like that, I believe.
That's where the little screen goes?
Yeah, let me just check the fit. Yeah. So, one of the annoying things about the original Ender 3s is the encoder that they use. The knob's very, very just unpleasant. So I taped over it.
Don't worry, I'll just block your vision with the camera.
Yeah. Don't worry, I'll just, where is my light? I'll block out yours with the oversaturation. That'll be Be a little gentle with this because I don't feel like I
Quiet, ladies and gentlemen. We need full focus here.
maximum effort.
Got 13 people watching here right now. Struggling to put the clamp in.
Oh my gosh. Don't want to break the ribbon cable. That would actually ruin this whole day. Yeah, it goes through there.
Yeah, we're having technical difficulties here in the setup.
Ah,
He's getting nervous now.
I'm just gonna go underneath. I don't want to put too much stress on the cable.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing I will say, Creality, you should put a little more, give him a little more wiggle room with that cable, because it is very, very sketchy. Okay.
Yeah, we'll have to do a in-depth review on this printer.
Yeah.
Compare it to these things right here.
Feels like it's in. But yeah, the ribbon on that is a little sketch. I ain't gonna lie. Yeah, my Ender 3s. This is a nice contact, nice connection point. Can I open this door without doing it? Uh-oh. It's all the way in.
That can't be right then.
Yeah, I think I gotta just push it in, but, you know, it feels it's a little uncomfy, you know? Oh, I'm gonna slap it in. Alright. So next it says to put on the roof. I'm gonna skip that and put on the handle.
Oh, doing it out of order.
Yeah. I mean, given that Creality already knows that this door is a little sketch, I don't know why they wouldn't have that be priority number one.
Well, they probably knew you were gonna buy it, so. Yeah, I'll get it out of the way.
Yeah. Yeah, mister, I'm not gonna
Little
do
plug.
anything. Stands right in front of me.
Little plug right there for the channel. Yeah, comment below if you guys enjoy the live streams. We really enjoy making them so far.
Let's see where I put it. This is the roof. I believe, yeah. Oh no, this is the door handle. Okay.
Also, while he's looking right there, do a little sneak peek. I got my big camera all set up. Hopefully doing a car video shoot today.
If they can get out of bed.
Yep. Been excited, looking forward to it for a while. A little big collab actually with another YouTube channel. But yeah, hopefully things go to plan. I can't believe this thing's not built yet.
I know.
We've been live streaming, so this stream's almost 20 minutes right now. And we did a half-hour stream before. And I still haven't seen anything get printed yet.
I know. I'm gonna put it there, so that way it doesn't flop around. But it's very floppy.
It's like a floppy disk. Got some chill 3D printer vibes going today. Yeah.
Into plastic.
Went to Micro Center earlier. So is that the first printer you bought from Micro Center, or is there another one that you got there?
I bought the Ender 3S one from Microsoft.
Oh, nice.
That was a very good deal.
Do you think they're the best place to go for 3D printers and accessories?
Right now they're the only.
Right.
I don't know.
Is it better than ordering online?
Well, the convenience of it being right there, definitely, I will say is a plus.
It has some value to it for sure.
You know, the ability to have it, you know, go in there, cash in hand, have it immediately is nice. Is it the best? I don't know. Like, you know, internet, online ordering, you know,
I will say it looks a lot nicer with it being in a closed-off cabinet like that compared to the open frames. Makes it look much nicer. Oh, you can actually see me in the reflection. He's reading.
Yeah.
You done?
Nope.
How's it going?
Hey.
Can I talk?
Yeah, we're live on YouTube though, just so you know.
Yep. Where did my Allen keys go? I have, I believe, 4 sets of Allen keys, and I can't find a single one. I need it.
It doesn't come with all the stuff you need to build it.
It probably does, but I'm also just. I like to use my own tools.
We're going for the world record slowest Creality printer build. So what is going to be the first thing you make with this, Tyler?
Probably just gonna do a Benchy. No, nothing fancy. What the heck? What? What are these inserts for? Okay. I got these little rubber inserts.
That's the handle right there.
Oh, gotta first screw this into it.
It's nice they put a little handle on it.
Oh. That's what these rubber inserts are supposed to do.
What a beautiful printer.
Thanks for
Do you
noticing.
do you name your printers?
Yes. So, the one that's in the corner is Prince Harry.
Prince Harry?
Prince Harry.
That's Prince Harry.
The next one is Prince of Darkness.
Mm-hmm.
That's not too bad.
Prince of Darkness. Yeah, that's fine.
And then the final one is Prince of Peace.
Is that the last one
Yes.
in the cabinet? That's Prince of Peace. So what do you think this one's going to be called?
I don't know yet. I'm trying to figure out if this is supposed to be a nut or a washer or what. Guess we're just gonna leave it off. Right, so- Let's see how it goes. Okay, so
Uh-oh.
this is magnetic.
Oh, it is.
That's how it holds.
Oh, so the handle's the magnet.
I believe. Don't quote me on it just quite yet. But
Got some chill 3D printer vibes, washing machine ASMR.
figure out what I'm supposed to be doing this.
If anybody watching has any questions about the Creality Max Plus V7, whatever they call this thing.
Reality K1 Max.
Yeah, if anybody's got a question about the K1 Max, make sure to ask it below, and Tyler will probably do his best to answer it.
I can tell you right now, my answer is probably going to be, that's a good question. I'll have to look into it because I wanted to, and I don't know.
Well, there you go.
Back it over here. Where am I supposed to have it? Oh, okay. That's interesting. That makes sense.
You put it on backwards?
I did.
I'd imagine the handle part goes on the outside.
No, it does, but the metal plate is supposed to stick to it. But yeah, so you see right here how it's sticking to its magnet?
Yeah,
Don't die!
let's
You
see.
trying to break my front plate? See?
Yeah, it's magnetic.
Yeah.
Okay. So what's the issue here? This falls off if you open it?
If you let it swing around, it flies open. So there's a video I'll send you later. But
Well, can we reenact it on live?
sure. You want to give me $700 for another one?
I'd imagine these panels you can just buy.
Sure.
They don't sell them separate?
They might, but I'd rather not have to go through the process. So, for those who know, these door hinges are a little sketch. And if, for those who don't know, there was a fella, Uncle Jesse is called, where
Is that his forum name?
I believe so. I could be wrong.
Well, can we get an F in chat for Uncle Jesse's 3D printer door?
Yeah, when he was putting on the feet, he tilted his printer forwards before he installed the metal plate. So the door was just flopping around, and it swung forwards, hit the end of travel, and shattered the glass.
That's absolutely tragic.
Yeah. Now, I already know what my first mod to this is going to be, which is replacing this handle. Nothing wrong with it, but it's kind of needs a little more pizzazz.
Now, does this have any RGB on it?
No.
That's incredibly disappointing.
No, just for you, I'll add some RGB.
I feel like that should be like a standard, having RGB on it. Oh, we just crossed over 20 viewers.
Let's go.
That's in real time right now. What would you say to 20 viewers watching you, Tyler?
Wash your hands.
There you go. Is that hypocritical advice, or?
Oh no, I'm a very big fan of washing your hands. I won't get into too much detail, but it disgusts me how many people walk straight out of the bathroom without washing their hands.
Mm-hmm. Man, I can't wait to see this bad boy printing.
Next, we're gonna do the top. Actually, you know what? I kind of want to leave the top off right now.
We're not doing the top yet?
Gonna go topless like the Jeep.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just because I want to be able to peek.
Look inside of it.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
So, I believe the next step is we plug her in. Alright, because we got the roll.
The 3D printer cave. Check out all these printers. Little plug right there. You can tell he's a fan. By the way, original sticker right there. I'd rather be filming. Little shout out. If you're just tuning in, we're putting together Tyler's printer right now. I'm helping a lot by filming. Looking inside.
Oh, got a big old fan on it.
That's the Creality K1 Max.
Now, one of the obviously the main draw of the
Very
K1
nice
Max
handle right there.
is the giant build plate.
Mm.
You know, actually, can you pass me the build? It's magnetic. Just pick it up.
This one?
Yeah, just pick up. Not the whole thing. The little tabs on the side. Yeah. So here's the build plate off my Ender 3.
See the size difference.
Go tab to tab.
Wow.
So
When it comes to 3D printers, size matters.
indeed, one of the big draws for this one, especially in the cosplay community, is within reason you can print an entire helmet. You know, if you're doing like the Halo helmets and all that, or anything. Honestly, that might be one of my next moves. You know, just print a helmet.
That'd be
Personally,
pretty cool.
I want to print some Crocs.
I don't know if they'd be too comfortable.
TPU is actually very comfortable, very squishy.
Should try that. You know what, that'd be a pretty cool video. If you're making 3D printed Crocs. Has anybody done that?
Yes.
Oh. Some confusion in the manual right there.
Could have just watched a video on it, but
Oh, right now we are the video.
yeah.
Somebody might be watching us to see the setup.
Okay, so it's top down. That's the view. Those are just those are transportation screws. That makes more sense. Now, actually, Chris, don't look a little more. You'll see they have the yellow arrows on the 3 screws that you're supposed to remove, which is
Okay.
very nice of them. I'm guessing those are 3s. Small, good God.
So make sure you do this before you try turning it on.
Well, it tells you to turn it on first and select it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but I'm not doing that. I'm assuming those are. I'm not sure what those are for, if I'm being honest. But I'm not in the mood to find out. So it's a good thing I left the top off. And while you're looking in, you can see it has 3 separate Z screws, because this can ostensibly level itself.
It's pretty sweet.
Yeah, you know, that's one of the, like, both my 3 and 5. Ooh, get some free bolts. Both my 3 and my 5 have bed leveling, but you still have to level the bed, you know, feeler gauge. It's more of just it adjusts itself after the fact.
Man, it still has that 3D printer brand new smell.
Yep.
It's like a new car, but new 3D printer.
On the foam here, so there's some foam underneath, but I'm gonna have to lift the build plate up to do that. So I will let my printer do that for me.
Very nice.
So you got some steppers on over here. Got a lot of them actually.
What's that?
Stepper motors.
Oh, it's the motors.
Yeah. We also got this massive fan, which is
Pretty nice.
I'm a big fan.
That blower style fan. Look at that.
Yeah.
Huge.
I think that's.
Like what they put on GPUs.
Yeah. No, I do.
Thing must be pretty loud.
So that's one of the interesting things. Was again going back to the original Ender 3. It would I called it sing. Some people would say it screams.
Yeah.
It would just make, you know, the stepper motors when they're running would just make so much noise. Funny thing, when I got the 3S1, they've upgraded that with the upgraded board, you know, the silent board. And the first time I ran it, I thought I was broken because I could not hear the motors moving.
That's pretty sweet.
But,
We got 35 people watching right now.
of course, the main thing with these Core XY printers, once again, you're printing extremely fast. You know, you're gonna need a lot of cooling. You know, to make sure the part or the plastic, the molten plastic, cools off fast enough and adheres.
Mm-hmm.
So unfortunately, that leads to, you know, big fans. You know,
Do you like big fans? And can you not lie?
I do like big fans, and I cannot lie. Alright, that's all 3 of them. Now,
You know what would be a cool challenge? See if you could print a cube in the biggest size possible by the printer.
well, I'll say I'm not the first person to do that, but I do have some interesting things that we could do with that.
Yeah. That just sounds pretty cool.
Actually, one of the nice things about the K1 Max, it's actually got a built-in camera.
Really? Oh, there it is. Very cool.
Yep.
So
Also,
you can check it remotely, I'm guessing?
yes, you can check it remotely. If you want to use the Creality app, do I recommend it? I don't know. I've never used it. I've heard it's a little, but also it's free, so don't complain too much.
I don't know. We're pretty good at complaining.
Alright, so I removed the screws. Yes, next would be to plug it in. So I'm gonna route the cable. Might be a little interesting just because I have my desk squared up against the wall, and getting a cable through there is an event.
Oh, if anybody can do it, it's you.
I tried. Thank you.
I'm sorry, did you name this one already?
Not yet. I usually name them after.
Yeah. Comment below, what should we name the new printer? That'll be the official birthing of a new 3D printer.
This is a bit of a short cable. I mean, it's still a solid 4 or 5 feet. But routing it's gonna be.
I mean, the plug is like right there.
Yeah, I don't want to make it nice and pretty. I could just unplug the real printer, the regular printer. And then down. One thing I will say that's a little annoying, given the weight of this thing, there's no handles. My Ender 5 has handles. My Ender 3 is a bed slinger, so you can just grab it from the brace up here.
Yep.
Especially given this thing's weight. I think it's a little silly that it doesn't come with handles.
Yeah, but it makes it look so much sleeker, though. And, you know, sometimes you have to sacrifice a little function for the form. No, that is silly, though, that there's no handle. I mean, you could try moving it by the door handle. Gonna get a clean wiring job here. At least that's what I hear.
And now, I'm not surprised by this, but the power switch is on the back, you know, right next to the spool. Once again, kind of annoying. You know, I understand on like my, you know, the classic.
So you think it's possible you'll be over there changing filament one day and just accidentally bump into that?
Probably.
That'd be
Will it
tragic.
happen? I don't know. Is it possible? Yes. Oh, well, it looks like it was left on for the factory. Oh, do you want to get in there some more killing?
Sure. Can't turn that down. The label's upside down as well. Interesting. I like the little light in it. It looks nice.
Well, before applying power, please check that the 3 platform bed fixing screws have been removed from the machine, which I did. All 3 of them. Also going to pull the stickers. Now, just a little something for those who aren't aware. The nut that the lead screw pushes up on the bed, and really on any Z-axis, is not supposed to. It's supposed to be free floating. So, if you'll come over here, you see these 2 screws that go into it. These, you're not supposed to tighten them down to the point where they're stiff, because it's supposed to be free floating, especially on a dual screw machine, because the natural kind of slop, if it doesn't have any movement, what will happen is it'll bind up and break the printer. Now we're going to select English. So I don't really speak any other language except Japanese. Remove the 3 screws.
Speaking of slop, by the way, if you like Lord of the Rings AI content, make sure to check out Lord of the Slop on YouTube.
Yeah.
They're one of the up-and-coming AI Lord of the Ring channels.
So those set screws are clear. Welcome to
Reality.
Please keep the blue cube in the diagram clear to read.
Oh, Nelson says AI is evil.
AI is of the devil. I will die before I submit to Broco's basilisk.
Yep.
That being said, this does have AI calibration with LiDAR.
Yeah. AI will probably take over the world someday, Nelson. If it's not already.
I very much appreciate that my 3D printer has a privacy agreement. But I will definitely read.
So like imagine if the AI printers or the AI like hacks into the printers and it just starts making them go on fire.
Yep. That is one of the reasons why Bamboo locked down their software. Why are you using your shirt?
I'm filming right now. This is a more important job.
You have your chair over
yeah, but
there.
this one has wheels on it though.
Unbelievable.
Plus the chair's just gonna get in the way of filming stuff, so.
Well, you get to turn it away. I don't want the world to see my Wi-Fi.
Nobody can see it. He's entering sensitive information. So we'll zoom in on his Skechers right there.
Say, zoom in on the patches.
Take a look at his 3D printer patches. AI is only good for creating waifus.
No, that's also of the devil.
That's
Get a
a
real woman.
That's a hot take right there, Nelson.
Where is the uppercase button? Am I tripping?
Did you finish entering your
I'm
password
trying to
yet?
find the uppercase button on this.
It's been like 5 minutes already. He's still
There's no
entering his
uppercase.
password.
Oh wait, hold on. Yeah, okay, that's one way to do it.
You got some sweet 3D printer Call of Duty themed patches right there. And don't worry, they're not for sale, so there's no need for licensing.
Yep. Those are
That's a
purely-
passion project.
The labor of love.
Yep. We also got some printed performance patches
Definitely,
right there.
Definitely go hit me up on Printed Performance Airsoft on
Yeah.
Instagram. 'Cause
See,
I'm
we'll
not
show
selling
off some of
those.
the other printers right there. They also come with free stickers. Need to get those free stickers.
Wow, that
Alright, you
is
finished it?
loading.
I just showed your Wi-Fi password to 18 people.
Oh, sweet. While it's loading, I'm going to download the app.
Mhm.
Because I am
I was gonna
curious.
say, what does the app really give you? I would assume you'd want to control it with a computer, wouldn't you?
Yeah, but I'm curious. I want to.
He's a little printer curious.
Time zone setting, whatever. Eastern Standard. If it's connected to the Wi-Fi, it should know what my time zone is.
That's giving it too much credit.
Create an account.
Oh, he's got to sign up for an account now.
Oh, I want to do this.
We're still going for the world's slowest printer assembly right here. Speed running it. Pretty soon we're going to be putting that top panel on. Polishing this bad boy up. Should be a nice touch.
I do not want Creality Cloud.
Yep. If anybody's watching the live stream, stay tuned later today. Hopefully doing a car video tonight, or this afternoon, I should say. Also, you can check back on our live stream last week that we did with the motorhome. My dad's 42-foot RV. Took it out for a joyride, filled it up with gas. $175 in gas just for a quarter tank. So how would you review the making a Creality account so far?
It's definitely one of the accounts I've ever had to sign up for.
Yep, yep. Is it bad interface, lousy, or just mediocre? Or is it really good?
I mean, setting up, it's kind of fine. Have any complaints about it?
Creality printer. You know, it's funny. Do you think one day we'll look at this printer the same day we look at that printer?
When those 4D
Really?
printers come out?
What kind of artifact is that?
Sure.
Probably. Yeah, but you actually had to put filament in it? Ours just like spawns it on a molecular level.
Alright, now I'm at the naming stage.
This is what really matters right here.
So it's called K1 Max. You know what, chat? Do you have a good name?
Yeah, comment below if you want to name it. I would maybe give it Prince Kenny. Because K1, get it? Prince Ken, and we're in Ken Nation.
Ken's Mojo Dojo Printer House.
That's pretty fire, though.
Ken's Mojo Dojo Custom Printer. We're gonna call it the Mojo Dojo. Don't want too long.
$27 people watching right now. If you got a name, suggest it quick. Prince Harry. I really like that. Prince Harry.
That was the first one.
Yeah. So what's the name you're going with?
I'm going with Mojo Dojo.
Mojo Dojo. Because it's like a little printer house.
Actually, you know what? Do you want to do the ASM? Well, first let's read the remove protective filament before. Okay, that's just saying to remove the screws for travel. Oh. Okay, careful! Don't break the glass. We know how dangerous that can be.
The Red Dot Winner 2024. What is the Red Dot?
That's a good one.
I see that sticker all over it.
Probably an award.
Comment below if you know what the Red Dot is.
Now, once again, just for reference, here's one of the beds off my Ender 3. Just for size comparison.
You made your bed, now lay in it.
Indeed. Of course, magnetic, so just kind of slaps on. Now I'm gonna put this back on here. Alright, so we've removed the set screws, which is very important that we do.
Yep.
I'm going to do one more visual confirmation. All three of them are out. Now, it's actually going to take around 11 minutes to do the self-check.
11 minutes? My goodness.
So first it's doing nozzle heating.
You should keep your finger on the nozzle until you can't anymore.
Well, while it's doing that, just answer any more questions that folks got.
Yeah. Looks like the chat's pretty quiet, so what are your impressions so far on the setup, on the exterior quality?
I mean,
What do you like, don't like so far?
that is a noise.
One of the noisiest noises I've ever noised.
Well, I'll say first off that it kind of... Is that the fan? Right now it's just doing some home and stuff, I guess.
Yep.
Um,
The first ever startup. And we got it here on video, live.
so it ran through the heating of the nozzle, the hotbed. Right now it's testing, I guess, input shaping.
Screen of a $900 printer right there.
Actually, while that is running up... Oh, so let me open this up. As you can see, there's foam under the entire unit.
Yeah.
Pull that out. Oh, okay, that's not good. That is bad. Oh, I saved it.
What happened?
Well, I don't think this would necessarily jam it up, but there was a little bit of foam on the threads.
Yep, check your threads.
Yep. there is a decent amount of assembly grease on the threads, so you're gonna see a little scuzz coming off of it, and that's normal. If it drives you insane, wipe it down very gently, because you do want to grease the Z-screws.
So if anybody wants to see us print something that's 300 by 300 by 300 millimeters, make sure to comment below. I kind of want to see how big of a thing it can print.
While we're playing around, take the camera lens off the camera, or the cover off the camera. If you can get up, you probably if you come from the top, see it's kind of jerking around.
It's jerking around from the top. What am I looking for here?
So this has what's called input shaping, made popular by Clipper. Basically, So I might have mentioned before, and the reason why I ended up going from a bed slinger with the Ender 3 to a fixed system with the Ender 5, and that's because
Is this that violent shaking you're talking about?
yes, and that's because
Sounds like a small earthquake.
pretty much. But one of the things is with the bed slinger rocking back and forth, you have a lot of mass. The mass of the print rocking back and forth. Now, one of the nicer things about these newer printers with what's called input shaping, it accounts for the moving mass of the tool head. So that way, if you're in a car, it's a good example. If you're in a car and you slam on the brakes, you're not going to stop immediately. It's going to slowly come to a stop. So with the tool head, it has a given mass. It's not just going to stop immediately. It's going to over travel a little, unless you calculate for that. So what input shaping does is it calculates the moving mass and all the inertia. That way, when it's told, like let's say it's told to go 10 millimeters to the left, it's going to know how much the braking distance is. So it'll calculate that into the movement. Which, once again, is very important if you're looking for super high speed, because obviously starting is going to greatly affect your speed.
Yeah.
That's why for a lot of my prints that I'm doing on the old ones, I always make sure to fillet pretty much every edge. I never do a square edge. Unless there are very extreme circumstances where I don't, but I always do like a 1 millimeter or less fillet on any sharp edge, because if your printer's tool head has to go this way, stop, and then go this way, that is going to add time, whereas if it goes this way, turns into this way, it's going to be much faster.
Yes.
Of course, the other main benefit of that is I don't even own an edge cleaner. I'm trying to think of the tool, a deburring tool. I never have to, cut off the edges because they're already rounded. The little adhesion brim, it just kind of peels right off if you flick with your fingernail. At work, when we're just doing stuff just to get it out there, just to test the sizing, I probably won't be filleting it. But if I need to, I usually sit there with a deburring tool, just clean it up. Do not touch the printer during self-check. You got it. I learned. So, kind of a somewhat good example. And now keep in mind that if you're making this in a CAD software and you're just on your laptop like I am, it will chug. It takes like a solid 10 minutes to render sometimes, because you have a couple thousand entities, or a couple thousand edges that it has to calculate. But in my opinion, the lack of the sharp edge really makes it show a lot more flowingly, if that's the word. Also, it's completely smooth. Like, I can rub my hand against it, and it's fine. If I just kind of, like if I didn't fillet any of the edges, it would feel like a cheese grater. believe we're on auto leveling. So this is, we're not going to get too close, but I believe it will, yes, there is a strain gauge in the nozzle.
Mm-hmm.
So everything on this completely hands off. I'm just letting it run. You know, my Classic 3, well, my 3S1, it has leveling, but it's done by this probe. In order to adjust the actual leveling, you still have to adjust the, bed screws. I'll be honest, I haven't needed to do that since I bought it. You know, if you just lock it in there, you're pretty much good. But it's something you have to keep in mind.
On the final self-check. Now, does it do this every time it starts up?
Every time it starts up, it shouldn't, but it's also good to do it every once in a while.
Yeah. Nice. Get the 3D printer live stream going.
I'm just going to take a little picture
For the gram.
for the brand. Remember, follow me, Printed Performance Airsoft on Instagram.
For the gram.
For the brand.
Artists at work.
Huh?
Check that printer out. That thing is huge. I wonder how much somebody paid for that thing one day. It's got to be a lot. Some chill 3D printer vibes.
So right now it's just doing its thing. I'm gonna let it rock.
Would it roll?
Ooh. One thing that is a little concerning is the angle of that Teflon tube. I mean, obviously Teflon tube is pretty smooth, but as you can see, this bend into here is a little concerning to me.
Interesting. How can I rent?
So, while it's still rocking, you know, needs to be, but one thing to consider is, even though it had a plastic blade, it looks a little dirty. So I'm actually gonna wipe it down with some rubbing alcohol at first. I mean, yes, you can just wash it in the sink, but I have rubbing alcohol here, and it dissolves right away. Or it evaporates right away, I should say. Right now, it's still doing its dance. Getting, you know what? It's actually a good time. Gonna leave this off for now, because again, I don't want to interfere with the process. But that'd be a good time. But, well, I'm still gonna leave it off for the first print. One thing to consider when you're printing with an enclosed space, obviously for stuff like ABS and nylon, as well as polycarbonate if you can, temperature regulation is mandatory. Where I used to work, they had, it was literally a 3D printer the size of a hot CNC machine. You know, I think it had like a 2 foot by 3 foot bed. You know, it makes this look like this.
Tiny.
Yeah. But they printed like a solid, like, let's say like a 2-foot diameter selector wheel for one of the machines on the assembly line or the production line, and they used nylon carbon fiber. And now, once again, this thing's huge. You know, it took like a solid 3 shifts to make. Or I think they started at like the second day shift got in the morning, and like towards the end of night if they were taking it, it was done. But 80-degree chamber to, or maybe it wasn't 80, maybe it was like 50, but it was a nice heated chamber to, you know, it was like November's, and you know, it's a machine shop, so it's not exactly warm, and it just turned into a potato chip right there.
Tragic.
Yeah. But one of the things you have to consider with other materials, like I know PLA and PETG, is a lot of times they say open the door because you do need that air for cooling. Of course, you can just leave the top off. That's what I do with the Ender 5, because the enclosure kit doesn't even come with a top. Now, one thing I will say, even though this is significantly larger, it's honestly the same footprint. It's just a little bit bigger than my 5. You know, I mean, I allocate about the same amount of space. Oh, self-check complete. Let's go.
Just finished the self-check. Your version? What are you gonna do with that?
Yeah.
Guys, he's on version 1.3.
Well, I guess might as well.
Oh, it's downloading an update?
Yep.
Oh, man.
I mean, I could run it factory, but might as
Got
well.
an update.
We'll see. My uncle and my cousins are watching, so shout out to them.
Got some fans out there.
Yep.
Just about to say, we could probably start wrapping up the live stream soon. We're gonna head out in a little while. But we got the setup complete.
If you want to wait for the download to finish, I believe that there
It's
should be
halfway done on the download already.
there should be a Benchy preloaded on this. So we'll load up the filament, get that going. The file. I'm gonna go grab my backpack just so we can show off more of the stuff.
You got the K1 Max 3D printer. Read that one.
This is my everyday bag. Some more patches for you. Yeah. Uh-oh. Yeah, it's just your reset.
Whereas I guess that means no bullet live stream today,
Tragic.
unfortunately. I know my viewers have been looking forward to that for a while.
Please recalibrate.
Give you the camera for a minute because I gotta go take a pee-pee.
Oh, have fun.
So.
Hi. Right now, we're just doing a little recalibration after the, the update. Just all. for those of you who are looking for storage of your filaments, this is the setup I've done probably a year or two ago. It's basically just, you know, this PVC pipe racks, keep the open top, so you just lift her up, and then you're good to go. It's nice because it's just very compact and convenient. But the one downside is if you need the roll in the middle, you got to take these two off. Is it annoying? Yes. So that's why it's my more long term. For my quick access, you know, when I'm doing patches and such, you know, I got to do multiple swaps. Like this one requires 3 separate filaments. See them here, you know, 4. I have this little shelf, you know, just PVC pipe, as well as the little clamps right here, just to hold it in place. I've had this since November, so 4 or 5 months now. As you can hear, the earthquake is going on again. But, you know, something like this, you know, it's PVC pipe's pretty strong. I think this is 3/4. You know, it's got some wiggle, but
Can we see a brake test?
sure.
So we're gonna get to see this thing print then, right?
Yeah.
Mojo Dojo, the printer.
Since we're not using this stand, put it away.
That is what you do when you're not using stuff, right?
You know, I thought I could stream this on Instagram. Apparently, they don't like
Yeah.
it.
We got to get more followers on Instagram
Yeah.
for him so that he
Follow
can
me
live
on
stream.
Printed Performance Airsoft.
Yep. Yep.
I was gonna say, do you have that in the description?
No. I don't know how to edit either.
Unbelievable.
I also don't know. I think you can have like pop-ups and stuff on the screen. I don't know how to do it though. I'm just a junior streamer here. This thing makes a buzzing noise, almost like a. How would you describe it? I can't think of anything to compare it to.
Dremel?
Yeah, it kind of does sound a little bit like a Dremel.
A bunch of angry bees.
Yeah, pretty much. 3D printer gang.
The screen turned off. Okay. While we're waiting for that, my Olight Odin, you know, it claims like 2,000 lumens. Is it really? I don't know. But it is about as bright as the
Oh
sun.
my goodness.
And what's really nice, if you scoot on over here, when you're working on something with a metal frame, depending on what it is, I believe that one's aluminum, but this one, actually, yes, right. You know, it's magnetic on the back because it is a magnetic charging.
Yeah,
So
that's nice. Magnet.
this is a godsend when you have to pop the hood in your car and it's the middle of the night. Now, one of the things I will say is I think some extra grease for the Z's is always nice.
Yep, yep.
You can kind of tell from the scuzz on it, it was greased from the factory, which is as it should be.
You would
But it's
hope.
always important. Got glue stick that comes with it. I find it a little questionable having to apply glue before every print. I don't necessarily think that's a great idea. I understand it's to make it easier to remove.
What are you gluing? The bed down?
Yes, so
The
you can
base?
take the glue stick to cover the bed.
Oh. Is that just to stop it from moving?
Well, there's twofold. One is if you have really bad adhesion, you just literally smear glue on it. The glue is sticky. The filament sticks to the glue. You know,
Makes sense.
yeah. I would say there's a lot of people who are vehemently against it. Same way there's a lot of people who are vehemently against printing with rafts.
What does that mean?
So basically a raft if I have one laying around. So, get it? Yeah, I'll do this one. So, something like this. You know, you see it's got a flat bottom, so I wouldn't necessarily need it. You know, it's kind of just sticks to the bed pretty nicely.
Yeah.
But especially on very small stuff, that contact patch might not be enough, and what's going to happen is it's going to tear from the plate. So you print what's called a raft,
Oh,
where
okay.
you know it's a little thing for it to sit on.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So you have a much
Stronger,
larger
yeah.
contact patch. There are a lot of people who get very angry when they see one of these. To which I say, grow up. I try not to use them, same way I try not to use a glue stick. But I also understand when it's 11 at night and you have an assignment due at 11:59. You got to do what you got to do. So. I'd say use it sparingly. Especially if you're going to be mass producing stuff, take the time, calibrate your machine, learn more about the print. If you're just doing one-offs and stuff, it's not that big of a deal. Honestly, you're going to waste about 1 gram on the bigger prints. And as I was saying before, you know, a lot of folks have AMS systems and do multiple colors per layer. And you probably purge that amount in just like 10 layers. So, yes, is printing on a raft wasteful, but it's a lot less wasteful than using a multicolor system. That's my 2 cents. Granted, I think a lot of the multicolor prints look cool, but you have to understand you can easily throw out 100 grams on a 500 gram print.
We're all about conservation here.
Yeah. Just don't look at that pile of failed prints.
Who knows what you'll find in there?
Yeah. Might find a.
It's like Pandora's box. Man, I'm getting excited to see this thing print. If you're just tuning in, make sure to check out Printed Performance Airsoft on Instagram. Not only does he make airsoft stuff, he makes patches too. Check those out behind you. Call of Duty fanfare right there.
I've also done a few commissions, like team flags, team logos. Can't show them yet because they're keeping it secret for an event.
Confidential.
But
OpSpec, right?
OPSEC?
Or whatever it is.
Operational security. Now, without getting into too much detail, actually I can say this, it's the Valkyrie Directive. They run a lot of the bigger events. I played at Broken Arrow. I had a blast. It was awesome. Made some friends there. I'm friends with a few of the folks in the Valkyrie Directive. One of the folks is an honorary member of my team. She's really cool. She was actually one of my first customers as well. But so I guess shout out to Becky. But they have had some issues where someone got a hold of one of their patches and was impersonating them. They're effectively admins of the game. So someone came in and started impersonating them, and that's not cool, So we're keeping it secret till the next event where they're using them, and then we'll share it. It's nothing too crazy though. But, better safe than sorry.
Yeah. Why don't you show off your ribbit?
My ribbit?
Your ribbit. You use that as a team marker, don't you?
Yeah. So we went as the Frogmen. So my call sign, if you will, is Ribbit02. As you see right here. Just a simple name. I do have another one, but Chris doesn't want to show that. I wonder why. Here actually is the first patch I ever made for Autonomous Security Solutions. Here's my current iteration of the Printed Performance patch. Obviously, we got the COD patches right here. Got another Creepcast patch for those who are up creeping they cast. This one's, Agent 47 suit, Ace of Diamonds, Umbrella. If you're a fan of anime, I got the Hunter license. Well, as this is just kind of me playing around with making my own font, just gibberish. On the front, you got Providence, Just having fun. Actually, 1 second.
Making room. Some chill 3D printer vibes.
So, Harbor Freight has, I believe it's called the Apache series or something. Very nice hard cases with foam inside. If you have large camera setups and need to transport them, this is honestly the best bang for your buck. As well as if you're looking for a bang for your buck. I made a few modifications, as you can see.
Lots of patches.
You know, just get some female Velcros, cover it, you know. Anytime I have a new one, I slap it in. We recently had the Ricochet swap meet, so I ended up giving away a lot of them. So that's why I have been, let's say, on the grind, making new ones. These have yet to be, you know, had the Velcro and all that added yet. But, you know, I like to have a nice selection of colors anytime I get a new roll. Yeah, because you want, these serve two purposes. One, you know, marketing. You know, you're showing off. You know,
I was gonna say those patches should be free. They're pretty much brand logos.
Why they are. So my rule of thumb is, if you're buying something from me, you always get one. If you follow me in person, you ask me for one, and you follow me on Instagram, you get a free patch.
Nice.
But more importantly, these serve as kind of a portfolio. You know, because some people, they're not necessarily familiar with the quality as well as the limitations of 3D printed patches. So being able to just show them, you know, what I can do, it's just convenient, you know.
Yeah.
I still have some of the my older patches just for reference. You know, as time goes on, I like to say I like to think I've gotten much better at it. You know, you learn more techniques and all that. One of the big things that I've been using, and I'm a very big fan of, is enabling ironing. Now, I want to see if I have one of my older patches. I don't know if it's going to show up. So, actually, a little impromptu lesson. This is probably one of the first patches, you know, company patches I ever made. As you can see, it's relatively thick. Back then, I wasn't. It is kind of thing. That's because I was testing out some heating it up so that the glue would sit better. Does it work? I don't know. You know, but it is what it is. But as you can see, I think this is at least 2 millimeters thick for the pink, then another 1.5 mil for the black. It's very, very stiff. Can be a plus, not always. But as you can see, the layers are I don't know if it shows up.
Yeah,
you can see the individual lines, which for most stuff, NBD. You know, you just looking at fun. But this one is not it. Grab one. Better get.
Oh, so is it ready to print yet?
No, it's still covering.
Still?
So,
Man.
I don't know if you can tell, but this one has ironing enabled, and so what that does is it does a second pass at the same temperature, but like 20 to 10% of the actual feed rate. And what that does is, well, as it's called ironing, it just cleans it, you know, it kind of remelts the plastic, so you get a much smoother surface. It's showing up on camera.
Yep. Very nice.
Now, one thing to consider, that it does add time to your print. I find on average, depending on your settings, you're going to have at least an extra 30%. That's if you're doing all top layers. Like you can have it so it's only the max height getting ironed, but if you're doing a patch, you are going to have multiple tops, top layers, if you will. So you need to keep that in mind. Self-check complete. Okay.
Oh, it's time to print.
This says to print 25 to 60. I typically go hot with mine. I'm gonna say do 60 on the bed. Just a little stats thing. Seems it has an input range of 0 to 110 Celsius, so that's nice. Although most printers kind of have bed temp up to 100, but obviously some of them 100 is wishful. And while it's doing that, I'm going to put the nozzle up to just 200 for now. Typically, when I'm preheating the oven with these, the bed, because especially if you have the original Ender 3, you know it takes forever. Especially if you're like me, doing Benchy, gotta do something like 80 degrees Celsius. It's like it's a solid 10-20 minutes of waiting. So the first thing I do when I turn them on is always set the bed to the temperature that I need it. The hot end, even on the older printers, they go pretty quickly. So if I'm preheating it, usually what I do is put it up to 200. Is it really that big of a deal if I go all the way up to 240, 250? When I'm working with PETG, not really. But I found if you go to the working temperature with PETG, it's going to start oozing out of the nozzle. It just is what it is. But if I go to like 180 or 200, it's usually kind of, it doesn't droop out as much. And then once again, the hot end is going to catch up as, from the time you hit print to the time it's done calibrate, leveling, it's already ready to go. So let's see if they have. Okay, so yes, this does come preloaded with a few G codes. I see they have a spool holder, which is interesting. They got the test cube, as well as Benchy, a slide holder, and scraper. Now, once again, as we mentioned before, the spool holder on the back is a pain in the butt. There's no way around it. But luckily, especially being that Crowdy is very friendly to open source communities, DIYers, which is one of the reasons why I wasn't really looking to get a bamboo. Is what it is. My glue stick ready. I am going to give the bed a quick wipe. I wipe it with rubbing alcohol. Yes, I know you can wash it off in the sink, but I don't want to have to take the bed off the printer. And I like having a little danger. The main advantage
It's
of
a nice Costco rag, by the way. Shout out to Costco.
Yeah, Costco is the best.
How many booms would you give it?
I give them 5 big booms. Boom, 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 boom.
Yeah, I could go for a Costco chicken bake right now.
We unfortunately don't have any here today.
Tragic. Well, they got to be fresh anyway, or at least a Costco hot dog.
Costco hot dogs are beautiful. Although I think I've learned how to kind of. So what I've noticed is the Costco hot dog is basically just a kielbasa. So.
We should do a Costco hot dog 2025 review. Make sure they're not lacking.
Yeah. So that we are up to 60 on the bed and 200 at the nozzle. Once again, Creality, thank you for including a roll of filament. Now, obviously, I have a lot, but I noticed
Humble brag right there.
Yeah, I've noticed, well, with the Ender 3s, they give you like, I'll say, 100 grams, maybe. You know, just a little spool to get you going, a little bit to get you going. With the Ender 5, came with I think 200 grams. But it's nice to see that they kind of just have they just give you a whole roll. Like, yes, it's included in the price, but it's nice to have. You know, if this is your first printer, then, well, it's nice that you don't need to go searching around. So there's no flavor package in there. Being like PLA likes to absorb water is the little sketch. Now, if I remember correctly, I'll rip this off. That. Very important, you clip your spools. You know, you want a nice clean end. A little tip I have, yeah, you know, these spring-loaded flush cutters. Don't know if I have any floating around, but you know, they're called Ranger bands. They're just EPDM rubber bands. They're nice and thick. They're very strong. And they'll hold this together if you travel with these. Because I've had these sitting in the bottom of my tool bag, you go grab something, and then you get bit by a vampire. It's no fun.
Doesn't sound fun.
Now, of course, it's just a temporary setup. Do a nice 45-degree angle.
I have to see the first print on the Creality K1 Max, aka Mojo Dojo.
I can tell you right now, this button tube setup is a little annoying, but I'll probably end up rerouting it to the top or using this rack. While Creality does offer a multicolor system, it's currently only for the K2. The K2 with the system is like $1,500 out the door, but without, you know, taxes, shipping, all that. Feels a little stiff. Okay, so we're right off the bat, we're having some annoyances.
Oh, there's trouble.
This is not the first printer I've had this problem, but it seems like when it's passing through the filament sensor, it's getting stuck. Now, that's one of those things where usually the solution is just push harder. But being that this is so far back, or it's so far after the input, I'm actually just going to take it out. Slice a new end. Actually do a double 45, so it's a spear tip.
It's really getting in there.
Yep. Of course, threading this, I don't know if you want to bend the camera over here, but threading it into this just exposed tube is a pain in the butt. So another annoyance. Once again, if I'm doing my own routing, I would probably give it a little fitting so it has a bit of camper going in. But it looks like it's into the. Actually, is my flashlight over there?
Yes, it is.
Can you pass me that? It looks like the filament sensor's picked it up. And we are activating our X-ray vision. So one of the really nice things about having such a bright light is you can see through translucent stuff. See the filaments around here. It's hard to kind of get the backlight. Yeah, it's right here.
That's so bright it hurts to look at.
Well, that is the point of it. Now there is this little lever, which is a nice step up from the spring-loaded stuff. Actually, before we do that, I'm going to test out the movement system of this. Bring the Z down. Now it looks like they still have the setup where the push the button. One of the things I will say about the 5 that's really annoying, if you want to jog it, it has to rehome, which is not the biggest deal in the world, but it is really annoying when you've already homed it like 3 times. So, luckily, Reality has since fixed that. We're not waiting 5 minutes to jog it. The operating temperature on this is like 300. So now I'm at 230. Which for PLA is kind of hot, at least from what I've seen.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I'm pretty much exclusively PETG guy. The reason why is, necessarily strength. Well, strength is kind of a never ask an engineer to find that. But actually, hold on. So we're at the bend, and it looks like it's getting caught on the bend. In the tube.
Uh-oh.
So once again, because we're on such a long run, it is pain in the butt. So what I'm going to do is just unplug the tube, take off the pressure. Once again, that's one of those things, Reality kind of, I won't say drop the ball, but not exactly my favorite. So this should be unlocked. Shoved in. And of course, these are shark bite fittings, so once you take the tube out, just plug it back in. Alright, actually, so it's very important to watch how your filament comes out. You want to basically just go straight down. And that's to check for clogs and stuff. Obviously pushing this on a, like a half-meter Bowden tube is going to be difficult. So we're just going to go to the extruder. Extrude. Yes, nozzle's heated. Yes, please extrude. This UI is a little... I should be able... I want to put in a number, but it's not letting me do a jog number. And it's coming out pretty nice, so I'm happy.
That's good.
So now we're just going to use some of the onboard G-code. You ready?
Yep.
So I think it's going to do a purge line, but it says to apply glue. So I'm going to leave calibration on. That's kind of the onboard systems check. This is kind of strict. Why is this dropping down to 120 Celsius? That's a little concerning.
There it goes.
It seems to want to drop down to 120 degrees Celsius. I am not certain as to why. I don't know if that's just for safe travels so they don't get stringing or anything. Now, what I just did, you probably shouldn't do. But there was a little bit of scuzz from the nozzle, so don't try this at home. We're what you call professionals. I'm guessing it drops down to 120 because this printer has a strain gauge in the nozzle, so it levels it by using the nozzle. And I'm guessing it does not want to press a 220 degree nozzle into the bed. That is kind of annoying. I understand why it's doing that. Right now it's doing its phases. But I will say that is kind of annoying. Something to consider if you're going to be running it. Don't preheat it like I just did, I guess. Skill issue on my part. We'll let it. I'm assuming the Benchy is going to print in the center, so I'm going to let it do its thing, and then I will slide some glue on once it starts. Yep. So she's doing. I think this is going to do a full 3-point homing. Doing nozzle clearing in progress. She's going up to 190 now. Guess it smears along the back. Now we're going back down to 120. I have no idea what it's doing.
Nobody knows.
Now, while it's doing that, one thing I did notice is the USB stick. Traditional, or at least the printers I've been using use SD cards. I don't see an SD card slot on this, but I do see a USB port. So that might be nice. Granted, I have SD adapters, so it's not that big of a deal, but I also understand modern computers not a lot of them have SD spots. It used to be the classic Ender 3, they didn't send you anything. So you just had a micro SD.
Nothing.
More modern, like the 3S1 and the 5S1, they both shipped with SD adapters. So it's not that big of a deal. Are we actually printing? We're still calibrating, okay. So I'm guessing when I tell it to calibrate freehand, it just does the entire check again.
Yeah. I'm gonna say it's putting me to sleep. I'm ready for a nap.
It's ASMR. Oh, are we actually gonna get up to temp now? I guess it's still probing the edges. Now, one of the nice things it looks like is they include a little cheat sheet for filaments. I mean, granted, if you're using a slicer, most of it's preloaded, but it is nice that they include the settings. Or they include the basic settings that, the benchmark settings, if you will.
So what is it going to be printing?
Benchy, it's called.
What's that?
So Benchy, benchmark. It's basically a little book, actually, for the folks. For those who don't know, the model on that screen is called a Benchy. It's the benchmark test for 3D printing. It has multiple geometries that are meant to. It's kind of to show off it's a performance test. So it's gonna have some overhangs, some rounded edges, some spots that you measure the dimensions to check that you're the right size. Yeah.
Got a comment from Chris V. What are you snacking on? Show off the.
So
the
from
bites right
from
there.
Costco, I got the little bites, the party mix, whatever they're called. I would offer you one, but I have no idea where you are. I got these
he
at
lives.
Costco.
He lives in Peru, actually. I know that guy.
All right.
Yep.
How's Peru?
He's one of my biggest fans. Says it's fire.
Nice.
Well, shout out to Chris V. Thanks for tuning in. You missed it. Tyler set up this whole printer all on his own.
Yeah.
As you can see, we're in his in the lab right now. Check out that stain that he's got on the carpet. I don't know what happened there.
What?
I was showing off your carpet stain.
Oh.
Oh, we've been live for almost 2 hours already.
I like a nice long one. Keep the fans entertained.
Mm-hmm. So is it still calibrating, or is it actually doing it now?
And it is doing the now it's doing the actual bed leveling sequence. It probes each individual spot to create a mesh, if you will, a mesh of values. Which, being that this is the first time this has been turned on, is kind of important to do. Now it looks like it's just hitting the XY maybe. I don't know. Yeah. Oh yeah. It's home. I think it's home in the XY. So we'll know when it starts to rise in temperature that it's ready to go. Yep, she's going up.
Sounds different now.
She's reaching temperature. So now I'm gonna apply the glue stick. How much glue you should be applying, I don't know. I will say, when you apply glue to your build plate, make sure you clean it up after each print, because, like I said, when I was younger and just kind of trying to get things out, I wouldn't care about it. And that's not. Oh, jeez. Oh my god. Well, 3D printer jump scare. Is this even running? It's not even. We don't want Oh, I know why. So, a little skill issue on my part.
We're having technical issues already. This whole 3D printing thing sounds like just spending all day troubleshooting stuff.
Pretty much. So, I forgot to lock in the extruder, so that's why it wasn't extruding. But that's the real test, to see if it can recover. Because even though half of the bottom wasn't out there, it's still going. It's going to look like garbage, but if it can still print it, I'm happy. Violent. Now, yes, these printers can do massive acceleration, but no, you should never do this on anything that you are going to sell, because it's going to have very poor quality. This is purely for ghosts. I don't know if it's coming up on camera, but this thing is absolutely rattling.
Shaking the whole table.
Shout out to Peru. Me and my homies love Peru.
You could print a Peruvian flag. I gotta say, I love Peruvian food though. I always want to try guinea pig. There's actually a Peruvian restaurant in Holbrook that's pretty yummy.
Yes.
I wouldn't mind that right
As I was saying before, the printer decided to go crazy. If you're going to be applying glue, make sure you clean off the bed plate after every print. I've literally, from being lazy, I've literally had like an extra millimeter on the bed plate from glue. Just wash it off. Of course, the whole setup's shaking like crazy now. So, one thing that I know I'm going to have to do is build an inertial base for this. Because, one, I don't want my whole table to shake. But two, I don't want the machine to shake. So if I can bolt it to something heavy, I would be very happy. Now, they claim they could do a 16-minute Benchy, which is very fast. Typical Benchies, they're looking like 40 minutes to an hour.
now. I was only 20%.
Yeah. I mean, a 16-minute Benchy is still crazy fast. That was the big selling point of the bamboo printers when they first came out. Was I think they could clock like 22 minutes, which still insanely fast. Most printers, the standard Benchy is like 45 minutes to an hour long. So, of course, as time goes on, technology gets better, software gets better, and a lot of the speed you get from these machines is due to that the clipper inertial calculations. That being said, my Ender 5 came preloaded. I've since had to overwrite it, but my Ender 5 came preloaded with a Benchy that took like 30 minutes, and that thing was shaking a lot, but not nearly as much as this.
So it's gonna be a little boat.
Yeah.
Gonna be making a little boat.
careful.
The inflatable boatmobile.
Who knows? Maybe I can print shipment.
Maybe.
Now, actually, one of the interesting things, because this is considerably larger, I could print the whole shipment map, and it would come out much nicer.
That'd be pretty cool. Should try.
Yeah. See, while that's running, I'm gonna test out the app and see if I can view it.
Yeah, let's see the app.
Now, of course, one of the things to consider is, the app is kind of like I said, you're getting when you open it up, you got a bunch of models. It's pretty cool. But of course, you're also gonna get some ads. Once again, it's free. Don't complain. Go to my workbench. As you can see, it's running. Let's see if I can view it. So I don't see an option to view it. It just shows the progress. View printing progress. No, it doesn't.
Really, there's no way to see the camera?
There should be. I just don't know yet.
It's starting to look like a boat to me.
Oh, hold up. So I was able to tap it. Yes, now it's got the. It might just be okay. So it's kind of catching up. It's a little laggy, but like I said, it's free.
Does it have a full screen?
Yeah.
Oh, it's pretty nice.
Yeah. Like I said, it's for something that just for monitoring. That's fine. Being able to stop it from my phone is very convenient. I will probably be going to the Orca Slicer, just because that's what everyone suggests. I don't really care about sending G-code to my printer over the cloud. I like to be physically there when I turn it on, so I don't have to worry about that. But it's just nice as a monitoring system. Now, Chris, as someone who has never touched a 3D printer before, what are your thoughts?
Well, I've touched it. I touched it right there. I mean, I could probably figure out how to use it. It looks like there's just always troubleshooting stuff, though.
Well,
Which seems like it would probably be a pain to somebody who's just looking to print stuff. But I guess 3D printer people would probably say this is the rite of passage.
well, to say there's troubleshooting is kind of like when you're setting up your PC. Are you telling me that you just bolt it together and it starts right away, or do you have to sign in and set up stuff?
Well, usually you just install Windows and then go.
Well, yeah, that's
Usually
the same
it
thing.
just works.
I mean, I plugged it in and it worked. There's nothing on this that prohibited me from printing it. I just have to put it together, load up the filament, let it do its self-calibration. Some like, once again, the Ender 3s, you have to do all that calibration yourself. There was no fancy onboard sensors. This one was pretty much just plug it in, shove filament in it, lock it in, go. Now, one thing to consider, when these things are running full blast, they do reach like 60, 70 decibels.
It's already pretty loud. Like, I wouldn't want to hang out in a room with this running all day.
Yeah. That will go down when I put the roof on it. But like I said, I want to leave the roof off for now.
Yeah.
Just being able to physically stick my fingers in there is just a nice thing to have. Of course, don't stick your fingers if you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah.
And if you think you know what you're doing, you probably don't.
We're getting a little boat.
So I am curious to see if this gets ripped off the bed. Because like I said, we had a bad first layer, and it's still rocking.
Looks like a boat to me. Boat valves. Can you print me a 3D model of Benchy?
I believe there are files for that.
That'd be cool.
I'll say, I gotta look, but I think there are body kits for the RC cars. I mean, I think it's the 4-door version, but...
Oh yeah, that I've seen. I don't need one for my RC car. Just have it out.
Well, let's take a look on Thingiverse. Now,
See what happens. Magic built with
asking you shall receive.
I would put that on my dashboard.
Well, as we're closing up on the Benchy, see what we're working with.
Definitely a boat.
Indeed. I think next I'm going to do is the cage sphere. That's my own personal test. Mostly because it's fun to do. Just to see how the printer looks.
There we go. It's about to finish.
Not sure why it holds up at that one spot. Actually, while we're here, as you can see, it's got the multiple belt setups, you know, to pull the tool heads. Whereas, you know, the Ender 5, I mean, it's still got some belts, but the way it pulls it's a little different, so it's not a true Core XY. Oh, you're on camera.
You gotta lift it up so you can see the boat.
Yep. Actually, I got an idea. Oh, let it. Well, actually, oh, you already put it like that. Never mind. get even closer.
I'm surprised it's not finished yet.
I know, this thing's so slow. You want to stick around for a regular Benchy?
No, I'll probably head out.
I'm saying that sarcastically. It's going to take an hour. %97 better.
Oh, it has a low chimney on it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's sweet.
Jesus. Whew.
Now you have a boat.
Indeed. Now the real question, how easily can I remove it?
The printable boatmobile.
Alright.
That's pretty easy.
Now, considering half of the first layer didn't even get printed, I would say that's pretty good.
Play with the boat. Shoom, shoom.
I'm gonna have it run again. Just back up.
Oh, you're gonna run it again?
Yeah, this is for me because I want to see how it is when I don't mess up. You know, it's very impressive that it printed like that, despite not being able to print the first half.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. See, like right here, it says to remove the top cover for PLA, as well as TPU.
Yep.
Of course, that defeats the purpose of an enclosed printer. I understand why. But, in my opinion, defeats the purpose. Of course, once again, this is a workhorse printer. It's meant for stuff like polycarbonate, well, maybe not polycarbonate, but nylon carbon fiber mixes, ABS, which would be a lot better.
Oh, alright everybody, you saw it print a boat. So that is Tyler's new K1 Max. Maybe in the future you'll see it printing a Jeep Duck. That'd be pretty cool.
That one I'm just gonna run on my DOG or my S1.
So you got any final statements to say to the stream?
Um,
We showed unboxing, building, assembling, setting it up, and even the first print.
yeah.
You got a little boat.
I mean, I guess my closing thoughts. First off, I've tried out Corex Y printers before. You know, that being said, it's very jarring the first time you use this. You know that tool head moves fast.
Don't be afraid of the speed.
Indeed.
Embrace the speed.
Crap over there, but it's fine. That being said, let me put a little more blue on this. One thing I will say, now, pro versus con, I don't know. This glass piece is not hinged in place. That being said, you can lift it up, pop the hood, no problem. Obviously, it's probably done. They do that so you can just remove it. If you are going to be leaving it off for a while, something you do have to consider is storage. You know, I will likely be keeping this little foam cutout handy. You know, just keep it down here, so that way I'm not just shoving it on the ground. Of course, the door hinge is a little sketch. The magnet holds it in place, but we've all seen what happens. I will say overall, consider I actually took longer setting this up than my Ender 3, despite the Ender 3 requiring actual assembly. Most of that was just because of me yapping, interacting. But I will say, in terms of painless, out of the box performance, this is definitely much different than the last printers I've done. I've set up 2 Ender 3 S1s, one of the OG Ender 3s, and an Ender 5 S1.
I was gonna say, it does look like I didn't really see you do anything that I probably wouldn't be able to do.
Yeah, the
It
most you
looks
have to
fairly
do.
simple.
The most you have to do is remove the 3 screws that secure it during travel. Other than that, I had to put the spool holder on the back, which once again, Creality. It's not just Creality, but a lot of brands have been moving the spools to the back, which is annoying. Is it the end of the world? No. Are there plenty of aftermarket solutions? Yes. It's just, it's a little goofy. But in terms of just out of the box, this was pretty much just plug and play. It comes with the G code for Benchy. Check on that. It comes with the G code for Benchy. It doesn't really require any additional setup. It's very interesting because actually I'll use my my tape measure. This is, we'll say, roughly 17 and a half inches across. Oh wow, that thing's rocking. Now, of course, those of you who've been sticking around will remember how loud it was beforehand. Obviously, putting the roof on it helps a lot, and muffling it. My Ender 5 is it's like 15 and a half end to end, but you also including the handles, it's over 18 and a half. Not to mention the spool, but I'm not going to hold that against either of them because you can relocate the spool no problem. But basically, this printer has the same footprint, but much smaller bed. And bill of volume alone is a reason to get the K1 Max. There are a few other options. If you want to go crazy, you can get the Prusa XL. I believe it's 400. Don't quote me. If you're, for whatever reason, want to buy the Elegoo or Storm, then obviously you're going to have it just straight up meter by meter build plate, if I remember correctly, or something very close to that. But obviously, that printer is a little questionable. For price, for value, you're getting basically just some aluminum extrusions and a tool head. I think, because something like this, 300 by 300, you could print and then, I just realized it's 300 cubes. 300 up, 300, 300. You could print a stool with this, no problem. You could literally print a chair.
You should print a chair and then we try to sit on it and see if it holds us.
That'd be a great challenge.
And then just keep holding more weight on it until it breaks.
Well, if
Future video idea. I would like to see that.
Sure.
So you already got a lot of stuff to print. A Jeep duck, a stool.
I think, just putting my head here, you can kind of gauge it. I would be able to print a helmet. Comment below what kind of helmet I should print. I'm a big fan of Mandalorian
helmet.
So I might do that.
A Helldiver's helmet would probably do pretty well. We have a lot of Helldiver fans.
Say, is there a good channel for Helldivers content?
Yeah,
Do you know?
yeah. Do you know Babingus Cinematic Hub? Shout out Babingus. His fans would probably love to see a Helldiver helmet for some roleplay action. You know me, I'm a aspiring actor, so I would love to do some Helldivers roleplay. And maybe a helmet would help make that more realistic.
Yeah. Well, I'm a big fan of LARPing, so I'd love to help you out.
All right, well, I think that about wraps up the stream then. So thanks for showing off your new printer rig, Tyler.
Thanks for
And
joining me.
I hope everybody joins. If anybody's watching this in the future, don't feel shy to comment any ideas. We usually respond to almost everything. So, all right.
Almost everything. That reminds me of the channel Almost Anything Outdoors.
Yeah.
They have great outdoors content.
Well, they used to. Now they're inactive, pretty much. So you hate to see it, but I guess life events come up sometimes, And well, anyway, ranting aside, that's about it, everybody. So thanks for watching, and we're out.